Hi, I'm Joy Sweeney with the Council for Drug-Free Youth Listening Post, and our guest today is Heather Gieck with Healing House and New Beginnings. Welcome, Heather. It's great to have
Joy.
you. You're welcome. Heather, I'm really looking forward to hearing about your story. I did go to your open house the other day. You just recently opened Healing House and New Beginnings right here in Jefferson City, and I would like for you to tell us just a little bit about that.
The Healing House is a 501c3 nonprofit Christian ministry designed to help women recover from a hopeless state of mind and body. The program is designed for women. It's a year long, and it is a substance use disorder facility. So the women who come in there will suffer from SUDs.
Okay, so all myriad of different substance use disorders.
Any drug addiction, alcoholism.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. What prompted you to start Healing House?
I'm a recovered alcoholic and addict.
Okay.
And I spent most of my life in addiction. The earliest use was at the age of 5, and so I began using self-medicating early on. By the time I was 12 years old, I was a full-blown alcoholic, and by the time I was 14, I had tried my first intravenous drug. So my addiction started very early, and it progressed at a rapid rate. So that my heart is for the recovering, or the actual person who is suffering right now from substance use disorder. And I went to, at the end of my addiction, I ended up in prison. And as a result of my addiction and my poor choices, and when I came out of prison, I went to a 12-step recovery program. And it was there that I learned how to apply the 12 steps to my life. And my life has never been the same. And so it's my desire to help other women come out of that life and into a new life.
Well, and I know we mentioned the Healing House is here in Jefferson City, but specifically, where in Jefferson City is it located?
It's located at 1418 West Main Street.
Okay, and how many people can you incorporate in?
We house 7 women.
7 women at a time. And how many do you have, is it opened up for business yet?
Yeah, we opened up May 18th was our opening date. We've got 2 women and a 3rd woman coming, so we have 4 open bed spaces.
Okay,
Yep.
Okay, and they're there from May until next May of 2016, is that the plan? Or?
Correct. We want the women to agree to a year long. That's what the program is. And when they come into the program, they'll be expected to work during the day, and then in the evening time we have 2-hour classes Monday through Friday. There'll be 2 recovery classes, 3 spirituality classes, and then once a month we're going to have life skills classes where we're going to ask professionals to come into the Healing House, and whatever life skill that needs to be addressed at that time, we're going to find professionals in that skill, and we're going to ask them to come in and show the women how to either do a checkbook or correct their payment history as far as bad credit and things of that nature. So we're going to look at those areas. Sometimes dental, hygiene, things of different, all different walks of life. The women come in with all different backgrounds, and so we're going to need a variety of life skills classes.
So whatever the issues are in the house at the moment, you're going to try and find resources within the community.
Absolutely.
And address those issues.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, that's very, very creative. What prompted you to come up with this solution?
The Healing House?
Yes.
When I came out of prison, I went to a 12-step recovery program down in Branson. I commenced that program, and after a year, I decided that it had changed my life so profoundly that I decided to give 2 more years of my life back to that program, running a women's house, mentoring women, and presenting classes down there in Branson. And so when I came back to Jeff City, I didn't really think about opening a recovery house. I came back October of 2011, but I began to serve the Lord whenever I was in prison. And it was January of 2012 of me being back in Jefferson City that the Lord put the vision in my heart for the Healing House. And so it's just been a progressive step-by-step, steps of faith, up until this place where it's actually became real.
And now, so you had to have some support from various entities here in this community. What can you attribute to some of your support systems that were put in place here?
I'll tell you, it's really funny. Whenever I came back, the only people that I knew was from that old life. And I came back with my history, my criminal history, kind of blaring everybody in the face. And I thought, when the Lord put this vision in my heart, who do I know to help me? And one of the people that I turned to was my pastor from before, James Jackson. He has the House of Prayer Church here over on West Main Street. And I told him of the vision that God put in my heart. And he said, okay, well, here's some things that you're going to need to look at. And because of the work that I had done down in Branson, they loaned me their right-hand man and walked me through the 501c3 process. Pastor Jackson told me I needed to go to the Missouri Reentry Program and attend some of those meetings, and it's at that program that actually 3 of my board members were found, so yeah.
Well, now Council for Drug-Free Youth is very concerned with underage drinking. What can you tell us? I mean, you mentioned that you started at a very young age, and specifically alcohol, and in your experience, how it led you down this path where you were incarcerated.
One of the things I think that's real important to look at is a lot of kids who use substance suffer from some type of abuse in their past, whether it's physical abuse, sexual abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, but there's some type of abuse going on. And that's not 100% sure, but it is a large statistic that's the truth. And so when you look at women who are incarcerated, you'll find that they also, who have substance use disorders, have abuse in their childhood. So when we're looking at kids, I think it's important to remember that. And for myself, as a child, I was molested at a very early age, not from my family, but from somebody I was left in their constant care. And so I was hiding, I was trying to cover up, mask those feelings of shame, fear, guilt, and I didn't even recognize what was going on when I was a small child. But what I know is that the first time that I tasted alcohol, it numbed me out on the inside, and after that time, that's what I was seeking, was that numbness, because I didn't have to feel. And so, like I said, by the time I was 12, I was a full-blown alcoholic. But alcohol, because of my surroundings, I grew up in an addicted home. My mother was an alcoholic. She's recovered now 23 years. My father was an alcoholic and addict. And so I grew up around addiction. Alcohol was very easy for me to get to. And so when people were partying around me, it was, I mean, when people are using, they're not paying attention to what the child's doing. And so it was very easy for me to be able to get my hands on liquor.
Right. So it was prevalent in your home.
Yes.
There were people that were drinking frequently, and so they didn't even notice when you would go get something to drink. And that really helped you mask your feelings of inadequacy and guilt surrounding the abuse that was taking place, the sexual abuse, was that what it? Oh, okay. So recovery, you know, is very, very, very difficult for many people, and I know that I don't know the percentages off the top of my head, but I know that for long-term recovery, I'm thrilled that your mother has had 23 years sobriety. Yeah. That's something to celebrate right there,
Excellent.
Isn't it? But what can you tell us about your personal recovery experience?
One of the hardest things, I was in and out at AA for a long time, but one of the things that I never ever did was step into action. I went to the meetings, I kind of just rolled along, but I never actually committed myself to the program of the 12 steps. And there's action that has to take place. For the real alcoholic or addict who suffers from substance use disorder, there's action that has to take place. It's kind of like if somebody falls down and they break their elbow and they think to themselves, they identify the problem, I've broken my elbow. Then they identify the solution, I probably need to go to the hospital. But as long as they keep sitting in the chair, just thinking about the solution, nothing's ever going to happen. And so it's kind of like with the person who's suffering some substance use disorder, is that they have to take the action that's necessary, and that action is in the 12 steps. And it's a lifetime process. There's nothing we ever get done with. I work the steps and then I'm done. Steps 1 through 9, those steps you do. 9 is a continuous, it's taking the personal inventory, and it's a lifetime event. All the wrongs that we've ever done in our entire life, and we have to somehow find a way, maybe not to right them all, but to right those ones that we can without causing harm to other people. people, and that's a lifetime process. And so that's done as the situations are presented to us, then we step over into that. But steps 10, 11, and 12 in the 12-step recovery program are maintenance steps, and it's kind of like taking care of your car. When you have your oil changes and your tires rotated and things of that nature, in order to keep your car running smooth, you need to maintain your car. And so in order to keep our recovery long-standing, we need to maintain our life. And so we do that through the process of 10, 11, and 12 in the 12-step process.
Well, and if
program.
you don't put gas in it, it doesn't go anywhere, does
That's
it?
That's right.
So with these 12 steps, how are you incorporating them into the work? I mean, it sounds like it's almost a ministry. You're connecting it spiritually, you're connecting it with life skills. How are you incorporating it directly, specifically into Healing House? Are you bringing in outside partners to do the 12 steps? Are you working the 12 steps with the women that are in the Healing House, or how is that being incorporated specifically?
I'm presenting the 12 steps. One of the things that I learned down at Church Army, which is now called Communities of Recovery, but one of the core programs that they had was Common Solution Recovery, and it was a presentation like I had never seen in my entire life, and it brought the 12 steps to life to me. It sat there, and you use a whiteboard, and you go through the cycle of addiction, and you put things on that board as you're presenting the steps in people's eyes and your personal experience, and they start to hear it. They start to identify it with their own life. One of the things for people who are seeking a changed way of life and seeking long-term recovery, one of the things that they have to do is they have to identify themselves. I can identify somebody else as an alcoholic or addict all day long, but it's never going to make a difference in their life. They have to diagnose themselves. And so I'll be teaching the 12 steps in much of the way that Church Army taught them to me, only under a different name because Church Army asked me to do it that way.
Well, and I'm going to, I really want to get more in depth with this, but we need to take a real quick break. So thank you so much. Yeah. I'm really excited to listening to some more of the solutions that you've come up with. And it's great to have you here. Thank you again, Heather. Thanks. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Heather Gieck.
The mission of the Special Learning Center is to provide comprehensive early intervention services to children with special needs so they may attain their maximum potential. You can find our website at www.speciallearningcenter.com for current activities, and we're also on Facebook under the Special Learning Center. We try to be a resource for people with disabilities in our community. If you have questions or a need, call us at 634-3070.
Hi, I'm Kurt Probst, and I am a big brother. Missouri Valley Big Brothers Big Sisters desperately needs your help. Right now, more than 50 children are waiting for someone to spend time with them, waiting for a mentor. By spending time with a child, you can change their future and improve their chances of succeeding in life. All it takes is 1 hour a week. Call Missouri Valley Big Brothers Big Sisters at 634-3290 to get involved today. We are proud to be a United Way partner agency.
Welcome back. We're here with Heather Gieck from the Healing House. And Heather, you were just discussing the 12-step program and how you were going to incorporate that in your mission here at the Healing House and New Beginnings right here in Jefferson City. And you were kind of talking about how it was taught to you and how that's what you're sharing specifically with the women that are coming into Healing House. How do you do that when you have some coming in now and then next month you'll have different people coming in, and as they transition in, they're going to be at different stages. So how will you make that work?
Well, one of the things that I know is everything that we learn in life, it's by repetition. And so this class for the 12-step recovery program will go 2 hours, one night a week, for 5 consecutive weeks. And then at the end of that, we will repeat it. So however the women come in, they may come in the middle of the 4th step, or they may come in at the 9th step. It doesn't matter, because right after we get done, we're going to start right back over at step 1. And it's going to be a continuous process, because everything that we're going to teach them about the tools, and then we're going to teach them to pick up the tools, and then we're going to teach them how to use the tools and provide a safe environment in which to do that. So
they'll feel success
Yep.
throughout the process, even if they're starting at step 4
Yep.
or starting at step 9 and going back to step 1. You're going to be holding their hand along the way. So it's not like they have to learn
Yes.
step 1 before they can go to step 8.
Right. Now, they won't be working them out of order. I want to tell you that every successful recipe has to be followed in order. And so while they may come in step 4, they'll learn about that, they'll go through that, but each woman will start applying the steps where they come in, but the teaching will be followed through. So the encouragement of reading the material when we're not in class is encouraged. There'll be weekly assignments that they'll be doing as well. And so each woman, I'll know exactly where they're at in their recovery, where to start them out on, and what work needs to be done.
So you will be working with them from
yeah.
step 1 to step 2. And what did you say? There's 7 beds in the facility?
Yes.
So it's a small enough number that you can work directly one-on-one with each of the individuals and make sure that they're successful at whatever stage they are at in their recovery.
Absolutely.
Okay, and what else? How did the 12 steps, it sounds like they really had a profound impact on you. What can you tell us about the 12 steps and how you've personally seen them be successful?
The 12 steps is a program of action, and it's also a program of truth. And so in order for us to get down to the roots and causes of our condition, alcohol addiction, alcohol and drugs, they're just a symptom of what's really wrong with us. And so the 12 steps are designed to get at the truth, and really the truth is selfishness and self-centeredness. That is the root of our troubles. And so we have to take a real good look at ourselves. Unfortunately, in addiction, you tend to have resentments towards everybody else, and you see everybody else's faults except for your own. And the 12 steps are designed to take you through that process where, yes, we look at other people, but then on the second part of that, in the 4th step, we get down to my part. And that's where the action starts to happen. That's where the stuff begins. And then in step 5, we admit to myself, to God, and to another human being the exact natures of our wrongs. So we're really looking at the truth then. And so in the middle of that, I'm going to tell you, if you were to just do this, just Heather doing the 12 steps without God in the middle of it, He's the one who opens up the darkness and shows us those places that have been hiding for so long. And so when we begin to do that process of writing, there's some stuff we don't even know that starts to come up on the inside of us. And if we are thorough and we're honest and we're willing to get to the bottom of it, I'm going to tell you, it's not easy, or it's not simple, but it's very easy to do. And there's a lot of pain involved, but you have to walk through the pain to get to the other side of it. And so it's also necessary. And the Healing House provides a safe environment in which these women can walk through. And it also has someone like me who's been through it. And so there's nothing that these women are going to be able to tell me that's going to shock me, or I'm going to hold against them, or I'm going to be aghast at what they've done, because there's nothing on this earth that could ever shock me like that. I've been through some horrific events, and these women need to feel safe and need to know that they're not alone, and that they can open up their souls and get their deepest, darkest secrets out on that table, so that they can leave them where they're at and begin to walk free of that and build another life.
Right, kind of like peeling back the layers of an onion. I've heard it described as that.
Yes.
And then the lack of judgment is the safety that you're discussing, is what you're providing there in the Healing House. Then they can peel these layers back and reveal these deep, dark secrets without anybody saying, you did what? You're actually there to protect them, and the other women are there to allow them to know that there's other people that have walked in their shoes.
Absolutely.
And so those are some of the experiences that they share personally to help give them the support that they need. I mean, I'm asking, but I'm also stating, because this is what's coming to my brain going, oh my gosh, I could see how this would work.
Right.
But is that what you're seeing, or what you visioned when you got your vision from God? Is that how you envisioned this being successful, is supporting other women in their journey?
Yeah, one of the things, I mean, absolutely, we have to, if we're not in a place that is a safe environment around other people who we can feel that are just like us, you know, who are working towards the same goals. If we can't feel safe and like nobody's going to judge us, so we're not going to open up, we're not going to get to the truth of things. But it's not just that, it's the program of action. It's seeing myself for who and what I really am without God in my life. That's who and what I am on my own in life. And then what we see is that those things I may have done, but it doesn't have to identify who I am in this life, and that there's an opportunity for us to grow. You know, and then we have to look at our part in it, and we look at how do we right the wrongs that we have committed, you know, because there's something about not just forgiveness, but going back and saying, you know what, I was wrong, and I need to know how it is that I can right that. In our financial area, it's rectifying those debts that we have, you know.
Right.
In other areas, you have to look at your children. How do I right the wrongs with my children? Well, some wrongs can never be righted, but what you can do is go from this point forward and not make those same mistakes and be the example that they need for you to be.
Right. Right. And so, yes, and owning your experiences or your
Absolutely.
and your culpability, you know.
Sure.
If you did something that you wish you would have never done, I'm sure everybody's had that experience. Oh my God, why did I do this?
Yeah.
And if you've been to that place in your life, you're owning it
Yeah.
and acknowledging it and trying to make it as good as you possibly can, given whatever it was that you did. And certain
Absolutely.
things you can rectify and certain things you can't, like you
Right.
just said. And accepting that, I mean, that acceptance has to be a huge component of this solution as well, doesn't it?
Sure.
I mean, because you can't always right every wrong.
Right.
Then, as you just stated. You know, we discussed the 12-step program. We discussed alcohol. Council for Drug-Free Youth is also very concerned with youth recreational marijuana use. What can you tell us about marijuana use? And everybody says it's not addictive, but specifically how youth marijuana use, maybe regarding how it acts as a gateway, quote-unquote gateway drug, or has in your life or has in people's lives you've seen.
Yeah, I think I started using marijuana very early on too. People that were around me, adults that were around me, were smoking marijuana, and people who weren't supposed to be smoking marijuana around me were. And so I started smoking marijuana very young too. And I believe, and I have heard a lot of people say it's not, and a lot of people say it is, but I believe that it opens up the door for us. I believe that anything that falsifies our reality has a propensity to lead us into other areas of life that are going to do the same thing. So if I have a bunch of baggage on the inside of me, or I'm looking to not feel or be void of thoughts that may be pressuring me, or a life that may be pressuring me, anything that numbs me out, anything that causes me to go from the reality of life into a false sense of reality is going to open up the door for everything else.
Right. And do you feel like it led you in a pathway towards other substances, or not at all?
I believe that because of my substance abuse usage in marijuana, it led me to be around a bunch of people that were doing the exact same thing. And those people were also doing other substances. And so the environmental surrounding of the use of the drug was led me to different areas of life, or your areas of use. So,
and I really like how you described that maybe there's nothing chemically addictive in there, but it's more of a behavioral addiction.
Sure.
That marijuana created in you. And I've heard in many other people who say, yes, I was addicted to marijuana. If I didn't have it, I reacted inappropriately.
Yep.
And so you feel that you had those same experiences?
Yeah, I was so used to smoking marijuana that if I didn't have it, I was grouchy, I was irritable, I was looking for another way out. I mean, I did have physical symptoms from not using marijuana. When you start to use the substance and you become accustomed to using that substance to calm your nerves, to whatever the case may be, and then you don't have it, your body reacts to that substance.
Right.
Your mind, even if it's not a physical reaction, your mind will have a reaction to it. And so
Right. So that's addictive.
Yes, yeah. Just because your body's not addicted. You know, the obsession for a substance use disorder, the obsession lays in our mind. My body has an allergy. I will never get rid of the allergy. My body will always be allergic to substance. But my mind is what was relieved of the obsession to use. When your mind is used to having a substance in it, this is one of the most powerful things on the face of this earth to get you to do all kinds of things. And your thinking, you know, will affect your behavior. And so if you're used to having that substance in your brain, that affects your thinking. It numbs you out. It gets you through rough times or hard times. And you start looking to that and you don't have that, your behavior is going to follow suit.
I just want to start singing, "Free Your Mind."
Yeah.
And the rest. I know that's not what they're talking about, but so how is Healing House specifically addressing recovery? And really, you know, it sounds like so many of the wonderful things that you're doing. What do you hope to accomplish? What, if in the dream world, what would you like to, and we've only got a few minutes to wrap it up here, so I just want to hear what you want to leave the folks at home with as you share the rest of your story.
We want to empower and equip women. We want to produce leaders. The women whose lives are changed at the Healing House, my hope is that their lives will be so profoundly changed that they go out and they begin to want to help somebody as well. When the mothers get changed hearts, the women or the children will get changed hearts. When the children's hearts are changed, then our communities will get changed, because our children are making up our community members, our next generation of community members.
Absolutely, and I mean, you've pretty much segued into Council for Drug-Free Youth. That's exactly what we're trying to empower the youth to live drug-free. That's our whole mission and purpose. And so when you effectively change the community and the environment in which we live, you can effectively change the environment that the youth are growing up in. It's healthy and whole and complete, and we can all support each other in growth and change and empowerment to be good.
Absolutely.
Well, I truly appreciate you coming and speaking with me here today. I know that the Healing House is going to impact many women for years to come, and appreciate all that you're giving of yourself, because this is a full-time job for you, isn't it? Yeah. Not just during the day, it's 24/7, right? Do you live in the house as well?
Absolutely.
And so even if they need you at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're there for them? And is that what you're doing with this whole project?
Yep.
That's quite admirable. It's inspirational for me just to know that somebody is so willing to give all of themselves in such a capacity that they would give up 24/7 of their life to be there and support others, and that's wonderful. What do you think you'd like to see from all these other women that are coming through there right now? Anything specific? If you could say one thing to everybody that wants to think about coming to Healing House, what would it be?
That change is possible.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That's so true too, you know, I mean, and it has to start with you, right? And you felt, how long ago did you start your recovery?
I'm 9 years sober. Okay. So I've been in long-term recovery for 9 years, and I have been free of prison for 6 full years. So, yeah.
That's very, very admirable. Yeah. Congratulations. Thanks. I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy for you and your success, and wish you the utmost of good fortune and blessings with the Healing House. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today, Heather. Yeah. Again, we're here with Heather Gieck of the Healing House on West Main Street, and I'm sure that if they want to find out more about you, they can check out your website or go visit the Healing House? Or?
Absolutely. Right now we don't have a website up, but our number is 417-559-7068, and we're located at 1418 West Main Street.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, and thank you again, Heather.
Thanks.
I appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks.